So Rhys, you start doing music with Bill in Frontline Assembly, then you move on. How do you meet Fear Factory and how do you start working with them?
By the second album I was on with Frontline, we were now on Roadrunner, even though we were like almost the only non-metal band on the label, but we were on Roadrunner, and that record started doing quite well. Again, we had MTV play, we had things going on, and we heard from them, oh, we got this band that wants some remixes in an industrial style. They're called Fear Factory. And I didn't really know much about metal before we were on Roadrunner. I knew Metallica and Slayer and Venom just because it was extreme. I sort of thought it was interesting because it was just so extreme, I guess. It reminded me of old industrial bands in a weird way. But I wasn't up to speed with like the whole death metal world and all of that. And we'd never really heard a lot of it before. They sent us some songs and said, yeah, this band wants industrial remixes. So we'd make it like a bit like a Frontline track, but use the elements. And those remixes did pretty well. They got a lot of club play and things. They got Fear Factory into the ears of different people outside the death metal world. I actually had met Dino right before we did the remixes because he flew up to Vancouver from LA because he wanted to just meet me and sort of explain where he was coming from. Dino was not what I expected at all. Because we heard this death metal band, so you make judgments when you don't know much about something. And Dino comes up and says, I'm really into the Prodigy, who were totally underground then. This is way before Firestarter and all that. He was into this like Messiah, which is it's like club music. It's like rave music. He said, I love all this rave music. I love industrial music. I love Skinny Puppy. I love, Ministry. And I want to have all of this in our music. So when he mentioned the Prodigy and Messiah, he sort of set the tone for what we were doing with the remixes with like a club beat and break beats and all that. So he was already influencing the direction of it right at the beginning. And that's when I started realizing, okay, this guy's pretty cool. He's pretty hip with stuff. I'd never even heard of the Prodigy before Dino told me about it. That's kind of where it started. And then they start making their follow-up to Soul, the New Machine. And Dino already has this vision. And he's like, I really want you to come out and add keyboards to it. And that's sort of where it started. And then once I started working on the keyboards, I think Dino started really going, all right, now I see where this is going. And I want to go more this way. Because no disrespect to Colin. Colin's a great producer. He's a nice guy. He's very good at what he does. But he had zero interest in what I was doing on the record. He was never even at the studio when I was doing keyboards. I mean, usually if you're producing, you kind of come in and say, hey, I don't like this, I like that. But I was left on my own. I was in the studio by myself working on all the keyboards. And then I think what happened, well, maybe I'll save this story for when we play the song, but more started happening. Like I started having more and more input into the record. And then the whole thing started evolving from there.